At Wind River Resort and Casino, we like to celebrate life's little moments. Oh, and the big ones too. Because around here, when you're completely in the moment, that's when the magic happens. Come in and find your moment at Wind River Resort and Casino.
Good morning, everyone. Meteorologist Mike Krueger. You are watching Coffee with Krueger this morning at a little after 7 o'clock this morning. I want to thank everyone for tuning in and, of course, enjoying my cup of coffee with you this morning. Hope you're enjoying your cup of coffee or whatever it is you drink or don't drink to help keep yourself awake in the morning as I look outside. Oh, man, you know, one thing that kind of frustrates me is I'm frustrated with the fact that we've been looking at some breezy conditions here off and on. And the good news is out of these breezy conditions, we haven't looked at any major wind events. That's the key. You know, the last few years, yes, we've had fires, but we didn't have any massive outbreaks, right? Of course, if you were affected by a fire, that you may not feel that way. But that being said, when we look at the grand scheme of things, nothing major, right? Because really the key factor the last few years is the fact that we just didn't really see any major wind events the last 2 summers. Now, so far so good. We're not seeing any major wind events this year so far. That said, I'm noticing it's a little more breezy than it has been. So we're seeing these breezy conditions off and on as these systems kind of pass to our north. But again, the good news is we're not seeing any major wind events. So that certainly does help things out a little bit here. Let's take a look at what we got going on out there this morning and get you to the, well, I don't have that set up. We got to make sure I have this set up as well. Got to have more I got to have more coffee to get you ready for the day. What's going on here? Oh, okay. Okay, let's look at the high temperatures we saw out there yesterday, and just kind of a reminder of how hot it is out there, right? We need to take care of ourselves. You know, I was talking to friends Don Burton and Heather in the morning, and they were talking about, he was talking about, his friend saying, hey, listen, it's hot, and if you start feeling dizzy, if you start feeling like you need a break, listen to your body and take a break, because it doesn't matter how healthy you are. But we look at the temperatures we saw yesterday. Reading saw a high of 106. Red Bluff, second day in a row, broke a record by 1 degree, both days, by the way. But look at Chico, look at Oroville, a high of 102. Look at the mountains. Bernie, you were just shy of that triple-digit mark yesterday. 89 for Alturas, 96 in Susanville, Hoopa about 87. Doesn't that look refreshing along the coast there? 62 Crescent City yesterday, and Eureka saw a high of 66. Look at the temperatures out there right now. Man, it's already 80 degrees in Reading, 75 for Red Bluff as well as Chico. Now, the reason why we are seeing those warmer temperatures in Reading are because of the winds. The winds are a little breezy out there at the Reading Airport this morning. 62 degrees for Susanville, 52 degrees in Alturas. And the visibility looks pretty good, although it is worth mentioning and showing here that we still have some low clouds, a little bit of fog for places along the coast right now. There's a look at Elk Country in Trinidad, or north of Trinidad, is what we're looking at right there. We're going to take you to a camera in Crescent City. Again, the what we call the low clouds, the stratus deck, if you will. It's that gray look. I mean, the visibility, you can look off in the distance, you can see pretty good visibility. But just kind of the overcast skies out there this morning, that should, for the most part, start to clear out as we go through the morning hours, and not to mention this afternoon as well. All right, let's go ahead and get you out the door this morning on this June 12th, 8 o'clock this morning, mainly upper 70s, give or take, depending on where you are in the valley. It's 80 right now in the valley, right, for Reading, but not as warm as you head south. Temperatures mainly in the upper 50s to low 60s for most of the higher elevations, and of course for the north coast, you got those mostly cloudy skies right now. but that should start to clear out a little bit. So you can kind of see these little areas, these pockets in the valley where we are seeing some breezy conditions out there, and I expect that to continue through the next several hours. But we're looking at calmer winds along the coast here, not to mention in the higher elevations. Now the forecast winds, yes, they subside a little bit here by the time we get to midday, but by the afternoon they'll start to pick back up again, especially the north end of the valley. A little breezy in the eastern mountains, not to mention Siskiyou County, and of course those gusty winds along the coast this afternoon over 20 miles per hour. So our fire danger. Now, a couple of things I want to point out here for today. Notice, of course, and this is really since day one of showing this map, it's mainly been to highlight the fire danger in the valley and the surrounding foothills. So we can see here that we've got a lot of the dark oranges and even getting some faint shades of red in there. That's getting in the high to very high category. Notice the direction of the winds. They're coming in from the south for Chico, but more the north-northwest for places like Redding. But also, I want to show you, and just for you to take note, look at Lassen County to the east of the valley, northeast of the valley in Modoc County, even in parts of Siskiyou County. We're beginning to see some lighter colors in there, the lighter greens, yellows, and even some oranges, especially into the far east. But look at that, northeast of Bernie, start getting into the Fall River Mills, right? MacArthur. We're starting to see some faint colors of orange in there for today. What this is telling us is that we're getting outside of just the valley drying out, but we're beginning to see a lot of the snow dry out in the higher elevations. And I want to give you a prime example of that as we take a look at the Lassen Park camera. Let's go ahead and get to that camera there. Look at that. I mean, you have to, so at the visitor center at Lassen Park, south entrance, 6,700 feet, there's no more snow on the ground, at least at that level. Now, obviously, you can see some patches of snow up in slightly higher elevations, but not much. So things are really starting to dry out. And as you start getting into the 4, 5, even 6,000 foot range. Now, there's still plenty of grass and green, so that's good. But there are areas that haven't seen snow on the ground for a while that you're beginning to see drier grasses begin to kind of come in as well. So we've got to be on the lookout for that as we progress over time. All right, let's go and take a look at the satellite image here. You can see a lot of the clouds up to our north. Storm system, look at the area of low pressure over the Gulf of Alaska. That's the next storm system that's going to be approaching and having an impact on our weather. So we look at Futurecast today. Yeah, some clearing along the coast, but I think that those low clouds that we're seeing on the coast, especially out towards Eureka, may have a hard time clearing out. But I do think we'll eventually see more sunshine for places in northern Humboldt and into Del Norte County. We still have an excessive heat warning today. Should expire at 8 o'clock tonight with temperatures upwards of 106 degrees for some of the warmer spots in the valley. Take a look at the heat risk for today. And due to the fact that it is taking a long time to load up, it's telling me that it's probably going to be a blank map when it pulls up. Some of these maps are a little data intensive. And so a lot of times what happens, let me try that again. Oh, it didn't advance. Okay, my bad. Good. All right, good. All right, so here you can see that we do have in the moderate to major category. So mainly the moderate category. It affects most people that are sensitive to heat, but especially without proper cooling and or hydration. If you were impacted by the heat yesterday, you will be again today because it's going to be about the same. But look at Thursday. We're getting more into the minor category. So we're really seeing a big drop in our temperatures as we do go into the next couple of days. Today, there's your look at your forecast. 106 degrees for Redding, 105 for Red Bluff. Not quite as hot heading southward, especially for Chico, Willows, and Oroville, but still in the 90s for many of the higher elevations. But some of the highest elevations, 4,000 or 5,000 feet, you start getting into the 80s, right? 90 degrees for Willow Creek, and they're the low 60s out along the coast. Your 7-day outlook for the valley. Yeah, we're from 106 on today to 97, about a 10-degree drop from today to tomorrow. More of the same on Friday, and then low 90s going into your holiday weekend, Father's Day weekend. Temperatures low 60s for the coast, for the give or take for the next 7 days. Inland, temperatures in the 70s by Friday, keeping it that way this weekend. And for Weaverville, you're eventually down into the 70s by the second half of the weekend. and into early next week. How about Mount Shasta, Alturas, and Susanville? So yeah, another warm day today and even tomorrow, but you'll really notice the temperatures dropping by Friday, and in particular as we go into the weekend. All right, take a look at Lake Oroville, North Forebay. There it is. We do have a nice looking lake out there, don't we? Clear skies out there this morning. That's a great location to do some kayaking, right? Because you don't have a lot of waves and wind. Main Street, Chico, Highway 32. Looks like we do have the clear and sunny skies out there. That's also going to be the case here for Highway 99 at Neal Road. We've got the mainly sunny skies out there and fairly calm winds. Sundial Bridge Drive on Highway 44. That's the exit there. The Sundial Bridge Drive exit. And again, I want to share you this photo. I shared it with you yesterday, but just want to remind you, I want you to share your photos. Do you have a nice sunset? Do you have a nice sunrise? Do you have a nice favorite spot like Cynthia has here in the Beaver Lookout area? Are there ways that you're staying cool? Take a picture of it. Share it on the free Weather NorCal app. And eventually, I'd like to just share this every day. You can watch it. I'll try to share them every morning on my regular video update that uploads at approximately 5:30 to 6 o'clock in the morning. Of course, I try to share them right here on Coffee with Krueger. Share your pictures. Show everybody what's going on. Of course, we can't forget about the free Weather NorCal app. Just search for Weather NorCal in your app store, and you can download it for free. You can also download the free Weather NorCal app on your smart TV, in particular Fire TV and Roku. If you have a smart TV connected to the internet, and you know what? Most TVs these days are smart TVs, and they've got YouTube on them already. You just have to hook it up to the internet, you're good to go, and you can watch Weather NorCal on your big screen TV. Not only can you watch a 24-hour streaming channel on YouTube, but you can also watch the latest weather update. You can also watch Turtle Bay Wonderful World of Animals. You can also watch the Ag Report. So a lot of great resources. Anyway, you can watch Weather NorCal. That's the beauty of it. You can watch it from your phone. You can watch it from your TV. You can watch it from your computer. It's just a great, great resource. And, you're not going to find a better resource on top of that, a more accurate resource. I've been doing this for how many years, right? I've been here for 25 years almost. It's kind of crazy. All right, let's check in with all of you this morning, see how you're doing. And we got a few people kind of checking in this morning. Looks like we've got Julia Rogers giving an LOL this morning. I must have said something that made her laugh, or maybe there's something else that made you laugh. Elizabeth saying good morning. Rebecca saying good morning from Paradise. Thank you all so much for checking in. I know I'm enjoying my coffee. How about you? What kind of coffee are you drinking this morning? I was just getting a fresh cup brewed before I came on here with Coffee with Krueger, and my wife pulled out a fresh bag of new coffee. It's always fun to get that new coffee. We do have a couple of the national calendar days. We can kind of get you into it. Jeff, by the way, saying, good morning, Mike. Really looking forward to a Sunday, cooler weather. Yeah. And Jeff, if you're a father, hopefully you can enjoy it with your kiddos. Enjoy a nice hike. I know I wanted to go on a hike, but my son's actually wanted to go mountain biking on that cooler day. So I'm looking forward to maybe spending some time with him and going for a mountain bike ride. That should be fun. So today is National Peanut Butter Cookie Day. Now this brings up a memory because my stepmom, when I was in junior high school, she made, and still does, makes the best peanut butter cookies. She would make those. I would just gobble those things down like nobody's business. They were so good. So I'm going to have to see if I can find a good peanut butter cookie in remembrance. Now she's still alive. But just to remember that wonderful memory. National Jerky Day. Ooh, that's a lot of good beef jerky. Oh, Jeff, you're going to Hat Creek. That's awesome. That'll be fun. Maybe fishing, right? A lot of people like to go fishing in Hat Creek. That's one thing. My son loves fishing. But I'm not much of an angler. But the good news is he's got uncles that love fishing. Got the boats. They go fishing all the time. His cousins, they love it. So he's able to go out with them. But I'm hoping this summer to maybe do a little bit of fishing with him as well. A nice little fishing trip, something, be nice. National Loving Day, and of course also National Red Rose Day. Maybe an excuse to go out there and get your loved ones some roses. Maybe not a bad idea. Always good. You know, sometimes they say they don't like flowers, but you still got to do it. Mommy Coffee, Mommykins 63. You're saying favorite coffee is Cafe Escapes Cafe Mocha or Coffee Mocha. Oh, so good. Yeah, I bet you it is. I bet you it is. Thank you for sharing, Mommykins 63. Watching from YouTube, by the way. Good to see somebody watching from a different source other than Facebook. That's always good to know that people are watching outside of Facebook and watching in general. Because we want to keep this thing alive, right? I'll tell you what, let's get to the forecast. More deep dive, detailed forecast. Of course, as you know, Coffee with Krueger is sponsored by Wind River Resort and Casino. At Wind River Resort and Casino, you can enjoy friendly service, a wide variety of specials and promotions, plus all of your favorite slots and table games. All right, let's get to the current conditions out there right now. And let's see if we can get that going. See if for some reason it's not showing up. Okay, it doesn't want to show up for me. That is just fine. You don't have to. You don't have to show up for me. You don't want to show up for me? That's fine. We'll make it work. Here we go. There it is. Current temperatures. Okay, 80 degrees in Reading right now. You got those winds coming from the north a bit on the breezy side at the Reading Airport. So that's the reason why we're already up to 80 degrees. Now keep in mind, the normal high is 90, 91. So even just at 7:16 this morning, we're just 10 degrees below where we typically should be for the daytime high. This gives you an idea. This is one of the categories. This is one of the reasons why we have an excessive heat warning. Because yes, okay, sure, we may be used to 106 degrees. Fine. That's still dangerous, by the way. But when we don't have much relief overnight, and temperatures are looking like this overnight, that's an indication that we've got some serious heat. So one more day of this heat wave before the cooling trend starts tomorrow. We've got cooler temperatures over the weekend, but when we look at the long range, rainfall wise, doesn't look like there's much in the forecast anytime soon. And you'll see that here in the long range here in a second. So again, you'll notice these little pockets in the valley of, you know, we're getting in the 15, 20 mile an hour range. See the green? That's about 20 miles an hour. So even though these particular weather stations are not indicating that, there are other areas that are seeing those stronger winds. Now you can see even along the coast, you're getting a bit of a break from the winds you've been experiencing, but that'll change. The coast, you're back up to over 20 miles per hour, and it looks like we will see a bit of a break from the winds around midday for the valley, but back up later this afternoon and evening, back to 15 to 20 miles an hour and even higher. And look at the Modoc County, Eastern Mountains, winds coming in from the west, north gusty winds in some areas along Siskiyou County as well. Now, we go into Thursday morning. Winds die down, even along the coast. Thursday afternoon, boom, there it is again. But notice the winds coming more from the south for the valley, that westerly wind for the eastern mountains, and that northerly wind in Siskiyou County, and of course the northerly wind for the coast. We go into Friday morning. Winds die down. There it is again. Winds really picking up here. You can see out towards western Siskiyou County, but even the north end of the valley. So now we're talking 20, 30 miles an hour. Westerly winds to the east, northerly winds over Siskiyou County, and there are those north winds out along the coast. Humidity is very, very dry. Now, one thing we need to focus on, notice the dry conditions, not only the valley, but even the mountains are seeing those dry conditions. So what's happening is a lot of the snow is melting off. I showed you that picture at 6,700 feet at Lassen Park. No snow on the ground there at that elevation. So you can bet that's the same situation at 4, 5, 6,000 feet. So with the winds that we've seen off and on over the last several weeks, we're seeing things dry out. So we're beginning to see more and more dry fuels out there, not just in the valley, but in some of the higher elevations as well. South winds, that should help, but really we're still seeing those low humidity levels. Humidity levels fairly low, especially off to the north and east in the mountains. And then going into your Friday, still looking at those low humidity levels, but notice the winds, again, very strong coming from the northwest, but still a bit of a south wind from places like Chico, and there are those strong winds, and of course the low humidity off to the eastern mountains. So the fire weather risk, and this is including the temperatures, the wind, and the humidity. So temperatures very hot today. Winds not terribly strong, but that's why we have the high fire danger later on this evening. Now we go into your Thursday. notice what's happening. That south wind, not as hot. Humidity low, but at least with the temperatures not as hot, that's going to help to decrease that fire danger. But take note, this is something I've been talking about the last few days. We're beginning to see more yellows and oranges in the mountains, in particular for Siskiyou, Modoc, Lassen, Plumas County, and of course the mountains surrounding the valley as well. And it's even getting a little bit lighter here for parts of Trinity County as well. These are things we need to pay attention to as we start getting more and deeper into summer. It's not officially summer yet, but as we get deeper into summer, we're going to start seeing those drier conditions in the mountains. There's the high fire danger for the valley. And why? Not necessarily because it's hot. It is dry, like we typically are, but you saw those winds and how strong those winds will be Friday afternoon. So we've got to be aware of that. But also still seeing some yellows on the map there for some of the higher elevations as well. So the kind of the broad ridge of high pressure is keeping the clouds out of the area for the most part. Of course, we're seeing some of the low clouds along the coast this morning, but that's the marine layer, right? We're talking about the big picture of the clouds here. And we do have that ridge of high pressure keeping those storms up to the north. But I want to show you some of these high temperatures that we saw. Now, Red Bluff, on Monday, you broke a record by 1 degree. Yesterday, you saw a high of 107 degrees. You broke that record of 106 set in 1985. Today, I think your forecast high will be about the same, 105 to 106. I don't think you're going to quite get up to 110. So I think we're going to break that streak for records for Red Bluff. Now, Redding, you were just shy of that record high on Monday with a high of 105. Nowhere near that 110, though. 106 degrees yesterday. I'm expecting another 106 degrees today for Redding, but that'll be about 3 degrees shy of that record. I don't think we're going to get quite up to 109. So there you can see the high temperatures elsewhere. Places like Corning 107, but Chico, Oroville about 102. I mean, look at the mountains. Well into the 90s for most locations. Alturas, 89 for Mount Shasta City. But look at Bernie, almost 100 degrees yesterday. 93 degrees for Weaverville and Hayfork, about 92. 87 out in Hoopa, and they're those low to mid-60s out along the coast. All right, so here's what's going on. High pressure, bubble of heat. This is really, these bubbles of heat that we're seeing here, they've been in this general area for the last week or so. They've been trying to kind of move in and give us hot temperatures, right? And they have for the most part. But what's really prevented that from happening at full extent are these storm systems that have been riding to the north of us. And this trend will continue. So that heat pushes off to the east. This heat stays to the south. But I mean, it's intruding in our area. We're seeing it. But again, this is keeping most of that heat from coming on up. So we keep our temperatures down. Temperatures dropping for your Thursday, Friday. They drop even more over the weekend. In fact, by Father's Day, there's that cooler air riding to our north. By Monday, that actually dips even more to the south. Now, what's important to know with this is not only will it be cooler on Monday, but we're also going to be looking at a bit of an inside slider type of event. What that will do, unfortunately, is give us stronger winds going into Monday and possibly Tuesday. So we're probably looking at higher fire danger at that point as well, despite the fact that it won't be as hot and it will be cooler. And then as we go into your Tuesday, Wednesday of next week, there's a next storm system riding to our north, keeping that heat here, keeping that heat off to the east, and these storm systems. I mean, there's another one coming back from the Aleutian Islands. So again, this is great news. It's getting warm, it's getting hot out there, right? But the thing is, it could be worse. So we can thank those storms to our north, preventing that heat from getting as bad as it could. We're looking at still above normal temperatures, but barely. One thing to keep in mind is that when you get in these deep oranges here and reds, that's saying that the chances of above normal temperatures are really high. The chances of seeing above normal temperatures right here are lower. So we're going to be right around normal, I think, as we go into the extended outlook here. So we still have that excessive heat warning until 8 o'clock tonight. It should probably be allowed to expire before then, but you get the idea. It's going to be hot. Now we do look at today, not as much red on the map, so mostly we're within that moderate category. That being said, keep in mind that we're going to be looking at temperatures today much like yesterday. So if you're impacted by that heat, you will be again here for today. But look at this. We're more in that minor category going into Thursday. And in fact, by the time we get into Friday, just a few little sprinkles of orange in there with that moderate for the most part, still looking at minor. And then Saturday and Sunday, this map is looking pretty much the same. So looking really good. So just a quick reminder going through that last day of this heat wave, drink plenty of water and avoid alcoholic beverages. those don't help. They dehydrate you, as well as coffee. So you have coffee in the morning, make sure you supplement that before you head out the door with a glass of water as well to kind of help kind of get you back to your rehydration. Apply sunscreen every 2 hours. Wear lightweight, loose-fitting clothing, and also take regular breaks in the shade. And that's mainly, obviously, for people that need to spend out some time outdoors. So the trend, yes, today is one last day. We get closer to normal. Temperatures ticking downward, eventually around normal by the time you get to Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. Your trend for Mount Shasta City. The normal high this time of the year is 74. We should be down to that and below that by the time we get into the weekend and early next week. Looking at Weaverville, you're down to the 80s by Friday, 70s by Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. We take a look at Alturas. Your normal high is about 76. We'll be below that by Sunday and most likely going into early next week as well. Susanville, I think you're going to see your temperatures tick downward as well. You're talking 75 degrees by Monday, but back up to 80 by next Tuesday. And for the coast, just for fun, no variation here. Basically 60 degrees, give or take, for the next 7 days. Normal high for the coast, 62 degrees. No rain in the forecast for us. Looks like it's all going to stay up to our north, but just wanted to show you that long range going through next Wednesday. Yes, we will see some clouds passing from time to time, but overall it does stay dry. There's a look at your wave heights, and there you can see, especially as you start heading out, we're about 13 to 14, even 15 feet. As we go into Thursday, though, we will start to see those wave heights begin to drop. That being said, there still is a small correct advisory today, and that extends into tomorrow as well. North winds today at about from the north at about 20 to 25 knots. And there you can see your high and your low tide for today. All right, here's what it looks like for today. Temperatures for your Trinity County neighborhood forecast. Highway 299 right here. Temperatures as you start heading off to the west, low to mid 80s. But places like Weaverville, Junction City, Douglas City, mid 90s, give or take, and that's the case as you head up north as well. 90 degrees for Hayfork, not 85 degrees that is for Wildwood, 82 degrees for Forest Glen, and 88 degrees in Ruth. We take you out to southern Humboldt County for your North Coast neighborhood forecast, where temperatures along Highway 101 should be in the 80s there, although Red Crest about 72 degrees. We take you up north with Ferndale, 62, 66 in Fortuna and Hydesville, and 62 degrees for Rio Dell. Up north, Blue Lake, 68, 90 in Willow Creek, 89 for Hoopa. Temperatures dropping for the inland areas into the 70s by Friday and through the weekend. Up north, look for a high of 80 for Gas Key, but much warmer in Orleans with a high of about 92 and 66 degrees for Oric. Let's take you out towards Siskiyou County, where you can see a Highway 96, upper 80s to low 90s there. Looks like Wairika, about 88 degrees, and Gazelle, about 89 degrees. For Scott Valley, 90 in Callahan, and you can see about upper 80s for Etna, Greenview, and 85 degrees in Fort Jones. How about Siskiyou County to the north and east, up towards Weed, about 87, around 90, give or take, for places like Mount Shasta City, McLeod, and Dunsmuir. We take a look at your Modoc County neighborhood forecast. Temperatures there mainly in the upper 80s. Some of us could get in the low 90s, likely, for example, about 91, 89 degrees for Alturas. And your Eastern Mountains neighborhood forecast with your temperatures in the low 90s, although Old Station about 83, Viola 86, a little bit warmer. In central Shingletown at 3,500 feet, 92 degrees, and 95 degrees in Paynes Creek. Out towards Lake Elminor and Lassen Park, well, Chester, you're 91, but Lassen Park, how about 75 degrees today? So looking pretty good there. 89 degrees for Lake Elminor Peninsula, and there's Westwood with a high of about 88 degrees today. Let's take you after the Eastern Mountains to the south, and you can see Paradise, 95 degrees today, back down to the mid-80s by Thursday, Friday. And for Susanville, you're eventually back down to the 80s by Friday and through the weekend as well. Let's take a look at your Valley neighborhood forecast brought to you by NorCal Tractor. You know, I think some of us may even struggle to get to 100 degrees, especially for kind of the south and east side of the valley here. As you can see, Gridley about 99, 100 in Oroville, 102 for Chico, and Red Bluff, a high of about 105. We take you up north, 105 for the city of Shasta Lake, 101 for Whiskeytown, and Lakehead, a high of about 97 degrees. And looking at your 7-day outlook for Redding, we've got temperatures back down to the mid to upper 90s by the time we get into Thursday, Friday, low 90s over the weekend, and really basically about 90 degrees, give or take, all the way through the weekend and into early next week. Well, good morning to you, Ruth Sanchez, and who else we got out here? Good morning to Tracy. Ashley checking in from MacArthur. Well, thank you so much for checking in there. Well, that's going to do it for us today, folks. As I look outside again, I can see again a bit of that breeze for some of us in the valley. That is going to be a bit of a concern if you have to mow your lawn today, especially if it's that kind of the dry grasses. You may want to hold off because, again, it is a bit breezy. The wind should subside a bit going into midday, but it will be very hot midday. So again, not recommended at all today to do any kind of mowing would be my recommendation as far as any outdoor work is concerned. Let's go ahead and leave you with a couple of cameras out there, and we can take a look at Lake Oroville, North Forebay. This is the Lake Oroville State Recreation Area, and you can see the beautiful, beautiful shot of the lake over there. And you can see the fairly calm winds. That's going to do it for us this morning on Coffee with Krueger. We'll see you tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. where we're going to be talking about cooler temperatures, possibly dropping below 100 degrees by tomorrow. So until then, we'll see you tomorrow and have a cool, safe day.